This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you in part by Telex, the interconnection company, owners and operators of 56 Marietta, the most network-rich co-location facility in the Southeast. Tag TV and Tag Radio. Technology now has a voice of innovation and information. Get it on www.tagtvonline.com. The 2010 Georgia Technology Summit promises to once again set the very standard for technology industry events in the state of Georgia, as TAG brings together the largest gathering of C-level execs to attend one single event all year long. That's right, CEOs, CTOs, CIOs, senior executives and managers, entrepreneurs, academics, and more all gather to celebrate the state's global leadership in technology innovation. From the top 40 most innovative companies in Georgia to the indoctrination ceremony of the newly selected member of the prestigious Technology Hall of Fame, world-class speakers, groundbreaking innovation presentation, and TAG's exclusive State of the State Technology Industry Report, and more, so much more. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. It starts months, that's right, months in advance. The Georgia Technology Summit Organizing Committee has already begun the plans and has already, in fact, identified one of the nation's top speakers to be a headliner at the March 2010 event. In this Tech Talk, Tino introduces 2010 Georgia Technology Summit guest speaker Tom Koulopoulos, president and founder of Delphi Group, a nationally recognized thought leadership firm on leading-edge technologies and future innovation. Tom has also been the executive director of the Babson College Center for Business Innovation and the leader of a global innovation lab for Perot Systems. Named one of the most influential management consultants by Information Week magazine, regional recognized authority on the implications of information on global organizations, frequent national and international contributor for Business Week, Wall Street Journal, Forbes, The Economist, CNBC, CNN, and NPR. The 2010 Georgia Technology Summit, it all begins next March, but you can be a part of it all right now. From sponsorship to corporate tables to nominating a top 40 most innovative company to reserving your seat now in advance of a record sellout audience. The excitement has already begun, and Tino brings you an exclusive insider look at all the plans as we Tech Talk with the Georgia Technology guest speaker for 2010 and the president and founder of Boston's prestigious Delphi Group, Tom Koulopoulos.
Tom, thank you for joining me on Tech Talk today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, we'll just jump right in here and start with a topic that seems to be of interest to everyone. Lately, it seems like just about everyone, all they can talk about is social networking. And so what I want to ask you is all that buzz really warranted, and what sort of impact do you see social networking having on the basics of business and technology?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I can still remember when people were asking if the internet was just a buzz and a lot of hype. And I can remember being in conferences where there'd be folks in the audience that would actually ask that question with a straight face, and they completely believed that this was just a blip on the radar. But the thing about social networking that's amazing is how few people actually get it, despite the fact that there's so many people using social networks today, from Twitter to MySpace to Facebook to LinkedIn. I mean, pick your platform. The reality is there are a lot of other folks who just don't understand what it's all about. And if you look at organizations, you can almost cut across the demographic by saying these folks don't get it, they're questioning it, they're wondering what the value is, and these folks here, they don't even ask the question. They just go ahead and they use it, and they invest their time in it. You know, I've been probably investing a good 30 minutes to 60 minutes a day on Twitter just to figure it out. And I'll tell you, once you figure it out, you realize that there's an element of serendipity that technology can help us tap into, and it has value. And I think the thing that I see that really is exciting is that enterprises are now beginning to adopt this. Technology folks who hold the reins to internal IT are looking at social networking and how they can use it to leverage the enterprise. And that's where I see a tremendous amount of value going forward. So the social stuff that's going on outside the enterprise, I think this is fantastic. It will create all new ways that we can team and collaborate. But we need to apply it behind the firewall within the organization. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, social networking behind the firewall.
Right, right.
But some of these organizations have great brains that they just don't tap into because they don't have a platform to do it. So I think there's a lot of work to be done there behind the firewall, and some of it's already starting.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that those people that ask the questions about the Internet and the people today that are asking the questions about social networking, that social networking, you see it really becoming part of the fabric. And how long is that going to take? 5 years, 10 years, or is it going to be
I don't
faster?
think it's a 5 or 10 year trajectory. I think one of the things that we constantly underestimate is how quickly these things accelerate. And they do hockey stick. I mean, they do eventually get to a point where they reach a critical mass. And I'm seeing that with Twitter. I just came back from a very large convention of lawyers, and they were all talking about the importance of using Twitter and the challenges of Twitter. I see it as probably a 2 to 3 year trajectory. So I think it's going to happen very, very quickly, and it will end up being an essential tool, just like email is today. You can't live without email. You won't be able to live without social networking.
Well, let's move on to the economy. For the first time ever, Gartner is predicting a zero increase in U.S. IT spending in the year 2010. But at the same time, we see huge increases in IT investment in the developing worlds. So why the stark contrast, and is this trend we need to be concerned about?
You know, in the short term, I think we have to be concerned about it in that it clearly is going to create an imbalance in terms of IT jobs. And whether Gartner is on the money or whether they're a little bit off, look, the reality is that the IT sector has been hit very, very hard, especially here in the U.S. and a lot of developing countries, as you say very appropriately. What I'd ask your listeners to think about is not will I have a job in IT, but is what I'm doing in IT core to the business. And that's the shift. The shift is that a lot of non-essential IT is going elsewhere. It's been happening for a long time. IT, however, here within the U.S., I think is morphing, and I see that as a benefit for U.S. business. We're becoming more a part of the strategy behind the business. So you've got to ask yourself, and your listeners should ask themselves, is what I'm doing IT, or is it really IT that is supporting the essential mission of the business? If you're not doing that, I'd be concerned. That's the piece of IT that I think has to shift radically, and that's going to take a little bit of time to do. But if we can pull that off, then we don't have to concern ourselves with the imbalance in terms of the non-essential IT jobs. Over time, we can retool that and retrain folks, but we have to be core to the mission of the business.
Well, we have some interesting dynamics happening today in the U.S. and around the world to a great degree. The U.S.'s productivity is up over 8% this year, and we would all be standing up, clapping and celebrating that would be a fantastic thing if it not were for the high unemployment.
You bet.
And so is the technology finally creating the possibility of a long-term jobless recovery?
So here's what's happening right now. I'm talking to execs on an ongoing basis, and what they're saying to me, which they would never say on the record, is that they're hoping for a mostly jobless recovery, and I'll tell you why. The reason for that 8+% productivity is because of unemployment. The best way to increase your productivity near term, short term, right over the next few days or weeks or months, is cut your workforce. It'll take a while for the rubber band to snap, but it will eventually snap, and productivity will fall off a cliff when it does. And a lot of execs are hoping that they can use technology to shore up that short-term phenomenon and create long-term jobless growth. That's a frightening proposition, and a lot of that will end up being put at the doorstep of IT. But, my longtime mentor, Peter Drucker, who has, of course, since passed away,
right.
Brilliant man, but he used to say to me, because these discussions come up every so often, and during Drucker's lifetime they came up many times, he used to say to me, Tom, the scare tactics behind unemployment are always short-term. They're always short-term because we are ingenious. We find ways to reemploy people, and that will happen here as well. So I don't think we'll see productivity go through the roof. It'll increase the way it has, between 1% and 3% a year, for forever, and it will continue doing that. But we'll employ more people. So we're dealing with this short-term arrhythmia, this short-term phenomenon in this larger context. Will technology help with that? Of course it will. It already has, and it will continue to do so. But it will also help us find new jobs, create new jobs for knowledge workers, for people who use their minds. It'll be a different type of work, though. It'll be work that's more independent, more free agent based. It'll be work that involves an older demographic, because fewer people are retiring, fewer people want to leave the workforce. So it'll be a different type of work. But I have no doubt we'll reemploy those people. At the same time, we'll keep on moving productivity upstream. But again, go back to what I said earlier, right? This is not about just throwing technology at the problem. It's about dealing with the core mission of the organization, and technology can often complicate that core mission. So you need to simplify the instrument panel to be able to fly this very complex machine, and simplification, I think, will be much of what IT does to help create more opportunities for employment.
So we're very excited that you're coming to our summit on March 24th, 2010 at the Cobb Galleria. Most of our listeners already know about that, and for our listeners, it's not too early to go online at tagonline.org and sign up. And our summit's all about, Tom, as you already know, innovation and disruptive technology. And it's interesting. Our theme has been around innovation for the 5 years that we've had the event. But today, innovation seems to be everywhere. And while the recent attention is something that clearly needs to be happening no matter what period of time.
It's true. I mean, look, we're always being innovative. It's the human condition, isn't it, after all? It's what we're wired for. But I think a lot of the attention right now is because of the current economic crisis. It's because of the demographic shift, the fact that we have more older people who can contribute more knowledge work to society. And I'm excited to come down and talk to your listeners because I think this audience represents a catalyst in whatever direction we take forward. I think all too often we sort of poo-poo in technology, and we say that it's a necessary but small piece of innovation. I don't think so. Innovation is a process, and if you do it right, you need a technology backbone. And part of what I've been doing for a long time now is looking at how companies do this well, do it right, and sustain it. And you know what? I've yet to see a company sustain this without having a very strong technology backbone as part of that process. So this is a catalyst. IT always has been, always will be a catalyst to innovation and to change. And I think that's an exciting place to be.
Well, Tom, we're running out of time, but I do appreciate you taking time with us today. Maybe we'll get, if you're willing, one more conversation with you before the 24th of March, and just, again, make people aware of I think we know across the country you've been speaking and been getting rave reviews. I have your book now, The Innovation Zone, so I'm going to begin reading that and invite the listeners to pick that up so they'll have an idea of the kinds of things you'll be talking about.
A lot of it will be in the book, but a lot more is changing day to day, and I'm so looking forward to sharing this with your listeners when I'm there. Thanks very much.
Thank you.